Well, to the south of France we go. Absolute pleasure to have joining us on TMO Bryan Habana, who's enjoying warm weather and a very successful season. I'm not quite sure who he's got there with him. He's got a little Habana with him. Bryan, great to chat to you.
Hello, X. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm not sure I can hear you guys properly. Sorry, Timothy is wanting my earphones. I think I'm hearing a bit of the background noise, but all good. How you guys doing? Lovely to see you all.
Yeah, pretty good.
Salah.
Yeah, say hello.
Hello.
Yay. Oh, there we go.
Maybe he speaks French now, eh?
Well, he looks better.
Probably better than his dad, Bubs.
I tell you what, he certainly looks better than his dad, Bryan. But before we get cracking about the international season, Toulon securing a top 2 place in the top 14. So obviously you guys did very well in your last match over Bordeaux, I think it was. Exciting times, and is there quite a bit of confidence?
To be brutally honest, it's been a bit of a tough season for us. There's a lot of expectation, after winning the European Champions Cup last year for the 3rd time in a row. So, getting knocked out in the quarterfinals against Racing, was very disappointing for the club. And we've had an iffy season with some poor results at home. So, yeah, Sunday night was a pretty important one for us to just build a bit of confidence. And at home, it was really great. Obviously missing Duane Vermeulen, so we had to put another world-class player in Stephen Armitage at the back of the scrum. But yeah, it's exciting times. Top 14, it's a pretty brutal competition. I think Northern Hemisphere rugby, you play a very long time. It's almost 35, 38 games for some of the players. So it's been a tough old season, and with the World Cup, straight into the Northern Hemisphere season that for us now goes into the middle of the June window. It's been pretty long, but we're looking really forward to hopefully ending it on a high.
Right. Well, we heard quite a lot about Duane Vermeulen and whether he'd be available to travel or not. I'm sure he was a little concerned because I know the man still wants to play in the green and gold. Has that been a little bit unsettling, or are things a lot more clearer now and sort of more firmer cut for future?
Yeah, I think looking at our president, I don't think anything will ever be clear-cut for us. Myself and Juan Lobe actually had a big laugh at Duane because we've been having it for the last 3 years. So, in his first year, he's got a good taste of it. Obviously, background stuff we'd love to be sorted out. We all know how outspoken Murad Boudjelal is. I've had it, Juan Lobe's had it, Bucky's had it when he was involved. So it's not something new, but you sort of hope that it's an amicable agreement. And coming here, Duane always had an intention of wanting to continue representing South Africa and the Springboks, and was a little bit uncertain in terms of who the new coach is. But I think hopefully everything will get sorted out. Duane might have to wait till the end of the month, go to the ATM and see if he wants paid his salary in June. Yeah, like I say, it's again he's been a massive player for Toulon this season. He's probably been, if not the standout player, one of our top 2 or 3. So. You sort of understand Toulon's point of view, wanting to keep him, being the important player that he has been for us. But yeah, like I say, we wishing him well. I think he's going to be unbelievable for the Springboks. He's never let that green and gold jersey down. We'll be missing him, but I think we're all going to be really keen, to watch him go out there and represent his country in the next 3 weeks.
Bryan, this is Nick here. On that note, how are you doing? That's very polite.
So as Cares boys normally are, sir.
Listen, Bryan, what is your position with the Springbok jersey, and can you explain why Vermeulen is here and you're not?
Mr. Mann, I think just at the moment, the whole sevens thing was something that was sort of thrown a curveball off the World Cup. So. As it stands, I'm definitely not retired from international rugby. I heard when Alistair got appointed that there was sort of a gentleman's agreement between SA Rugby and Toulon, just with regarding my release for the sevens for the Las Vegas and Vancouver leg of the World Series. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure. And I know there's a sevens training camp being announced in the next couple of weeks. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be in that squad or not. I haven't had a definite chat to Neil Powell about exactly where I stand. I'd obviously still have to represent the Springboks on a couple of more occasions. Having watched Super Rugby, though, competition is definitely a lot tighter than what I thought it would be. Guys like Luwazi and JP and Ruan Combrink have been really playing well. So, at the moment, I think it's just a a window period for me to sort of see what happens with the sevens and if I can make a contribution there. And if I can't, I'm hoping I can in some way play a part in the rugby championships later on this year.
Thanks. Good luck for that.
Brian, you talk about that, and then you look in terms of the squad that's been picked. You mentioned a few young players that are coming through. What was your take?
Yeah, Bobs, I think, first of all, from a sevens point of view, it was really fantastic to be involved. And I think right from the beginning in my chats with Neil, I told him I definitely believe that even without me, the squad he's got assembles definitely got the potential to go out to the Olympics and do well. And then watching Super Rugby, obviously, one has to really get excited about what the Lions have achieved. I think Ruan Combrandt's been absolutely amazing the whole season. JP's been coming back to top form, and Luwazi's been his old self, scoring tries and making contribution both on attack and defence. So, I think just from a outside back point of view, having someone like Willie and JP there with the experience, whether you go with Ruan or Luwazi, I think having that experience in combinations with some excitement is really fantastic. So being involved for quite a long time, I think one realizes that competition for places will hopefully make the players who do get selected for this weekend, push unbelievably hard and, make sure that they deserve their spot. So I think I'm incredibly excited about where South African rugby is at the moment. I think there's an exceptional amount of young talent coming through, and we've seen that on display, especially on the outside backs throughout Super Rugby. So hopefully we can continue grooming those players and making sure that when they do reach the biggest stage, in that green and gold jersey, that they do so with aplomb.
Hi, Brian. It's Mats here. I wanted to find out how difficult.
Long time no see.
Since Berlin, buddy. Since Berlin. Yeah, I wanted to find out from you how difficult it was to actually move into the seven setup. It's become a very, very competitive game, a much higher level. And also, what are your personal hopes for Rio 2016?
Yeah, I think those defence sessions I had in the 3 weeks I was with Seven sort of really made me think twice whether I really wanted to do it. I'm not sure whether I was gonna have a heart attack or not. Just throw everything up that I ate for lunch. It is really tough, and I think going into the setup, I said to everyone when I was involved, I've always had a lot of respect for for the Seven setup and what the guys do there. I think being on hand, like literally in the thick of things, you gain a lot more respect for not only their work ethic, not only their professionalism, but the way they conduct themselves both on and off the field. Obviously Sevens is a very exciting game, and to be involved was really awesome. To score a try eventually after 12 years was probably not the easiest record I want to keep, but I think I have an unbelievable amount of respect, now being in it and having to do the hard yards with that group of players. The way I was welcomed in by Neil and Carl in the side was absolutely unbelievable. And I think I was very grateful for each and every person, from guys like Justin Khadil to Cecil Africa, to someone like Ruan now, who was a bit of a newbie, but was helping me in all forms of the game. So, I was really fortunate, a great experience. Obviously Sevens going to Rio, it's a pretty fantastic thing. And I told Neil, if I can contribute in any way to make sure that the team eventually goes on to get a gold medal, I'd be very happy with that. So at the moment, fully concentrating on the top 14, and if I am privileged enough to get selected in that squad of 18, I'm definitely going to give my all to push for a place. But I really do believe there's a fantastic group of players there that can go out and continue doing the country proud like they've done throughout the whole season.
Brian, obviously a big focus for us, and it's a theme for today's show, is the injuries that the Irish have picked up. You speak about the fact that it's been a long Northern Hemisphere season, but the way the Pro 20 guys have gone this season, there's a lot of talent that's come through, a lot of young guys. What do you think they'll throw out, having seen the ways the likes of Leinster, the way they've gone, Connaught have gone very well, Leicester always produce?
Yeah, I think looking at the European season, obviously from an Irish point of view, the big names of a Munster and a Leinster, haven't done as well as they thought they would have done. So what that possibly has given them is a little bit more time to prepare, a little bit more rest. So as long a season as it has been, they've come down to South Africa with the intention of going to do well. And we all know Ian Schmidt's credentials and what he's been able to do with that Irish side. And coming from the disappointment of the Six Nations, I really do believe that they're not going to be playing the fatigue card, and three match test series. It's going to be in the balance, I believe, until pretty much that the last minute of that third test. So obviously some South African knowledge within there. Guys like CJ Stander, who's been absolutely immense over the last 2 seasons for Munster, and when he eventually got called up to the Irish squad this year, guys like Richard Strauss that has played against South Africans quite a bit, and there have been a lot of injuries, but they do come with a bit of experience. Guys like Jamie Heaslip, will come there with a lot of knowledge, not only about international rugby, but about the Springboks. So I think it's going to be a well-fought series. Obviously Alistair Coetzee had them, I think, 12 years ago as an assistant coach, and Jake White got a clean sweep. So let's hope Alistair can start up on the same note.
Yeah, I think Les Kiss is another of the names that have been there, Charismal as well. So over the years, certainly a lot of South African interest. You've worked with Alistair, obviously, for years and years, and Matt Proudfoot's also part of that team. Quick word on Tuti?
Yeah, I think unbelievably delighted for him. I think he's worked incredibly hard to put himself in a position, to become the Springbok coach. Obviously, I wasn't there to wish him well being in South Africa, but I think a guy with an unbelievable attitude and positive outlook on life. I think he's been through it all in terms of South Africa, our demographics and what it entails, and I think a coach who's not only level-headed, but comes in with a good knowledge of South Africa and what it's about. So I'm really happy and sort of excited for his adventure. Obviously every coach has got a lot of responsibility, but being the Springbok coach, it just comes with so much more. And I think having Alistair at the helm, I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch the test match this Saturday, and hopefully the start of a great 4-year cycle for Alistair and his side. And like I say, I really do believe he's got the potential to do unbelievably well, given the talent we've got coming through in South Africa at the moment.
Bryan, thanks so much for joining us. Merci. Au revoir, Monsieur Habana.
Merci à tous. Bonne soirée. À tout à l'heure.
Hey, shine.
Well, you could have been swearing at me. I wouldn't have known any better, to be quite honest. Thanks very much to Bryan Habana. And